have a little project to do today, and what I want to do is I want to add some of this stuff, serving, to this area right here where this little string stopper I put on is. That way I don't wear on my string. You need a bow vise. You got one of those, that's a little guy right there. You need one of these little portable bow presses. This is a Matthews bow, so they do have these little kind of string stops built in. I have taken it off of this end because I'm going to add another professional tool called a stick. Now this particular type of stick is of the push broom variety, and it's just a spreader. You know, I think it's 3.5 or maybe 4 inches, something like that. I don't remember. Usually cut them in pairs. Other tools, we'll need some a serving tool and some serving. That's a 021 braided. Set the thing up horizontally because we need to work on it that way. It's easier to do the wraps that way. Now, getting ready to put the serving in. Check, make sure I haven't mixed up my 3 inches, and I'm still 3 inches. Now I may miss this when I'm done. I may end up with 3 inches a little too far north or south depending on where the little stopper goes, but we're going to give it a try. Alright, I've got the string a little bit loose. I'm going to give it another twist or two real quick. Make sure I can fit this through. See, nice and slack. Now what I got to do is I got to come in here, and since this is where I want to start, I'm going to pull a masking tape down by about half a masking tape width. That will let me figure that right in this segment here, I'm going to try to get my awl, which is dull pointed, it's not sharp, to help me try to separate and count out the strands. Now I've got them separated out just like you'd put a peep in. And take serving material. We'll pull out quite a bit so I can just get it started. And we'll put some through the hole. We'll pull it. Okay, get a long tail. We'll trim this later, no big deal. And then we'll try to get it to be about where my 3 inches is. We'll twist it, kind of try to get that about like that. Now, here's what's very important. Now, did you see the way I twisted it? It loosens this way. This way loosens. And that's going to be important for how we wrap the serving. Because how do ropes work? How do they keep from coming untwined? Well, you have individual strands that twist a certain way, and they're putting tension, and then the bundles are wrapped the other way, so that as you tighten the strands, you loosen the bundles, or as you tighten the bundles, you loosen the strands, but both of them end up fighting themselves. Now, we'll take the string separator, this lovely stick, and I'm going to push it in there to give me some room to work with. Now, how do we loosen? We loosen this way. So, if I tighten the wraps this way, the way it loosens, when the string tightens up, it will try to loosen the serving, and vice versa. So neither one of them can get too far out of whack. Again, think about how the strands on a rope work. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to do 2 hand wraps first. This is just going to be, I'm going to leave this out. I'm not going to do nothing with it. I'm going to do 2 by hand. Let me tighten this up just a little bit. I'm going to do 2 by hand. Get up there, nice and tight. Do 2 by hand. Now I'm going to tighten the jig. Get up there. Put some tension on it. Now we'll take the serving and lay it over those that I've made. If I get too much tension on it, it won't want to spin. Come on, go over. Still a little too much tension. Now, that ought to be somewhere around 10. And with about 10 done, I'm going to come up and trim this. Now this can go away actually. Go completely off my string at this point. And I should just be able to go round and round. Okay, now I gotta go around 3 more times to make up for this. 1. I had the battery die mid. 1, 2, 3. Mid record, and that made me have to back up and rip it out till I could get to a good spot. Now, to show you how to finish this off, we're going to pull out about a hand's length twice, and we're going to keep going in the same direction. And we're going to just got to be big enough to get the machine through. 1, 2, 19, and 20. Now, with the 20th, let's go one more through there. So we can take this, we're going to pull this out, and we'll drop it around that side of the string, and then we'll go ahead and pull it down so it doesn't bang my handle. Now I'm going in that direction, so I've got to come around, keep going, and if I do this right, what's going to happen is I'm going to unwind off of the stock side, or the right side, where we just made. And we'll know we're done when we run out of loops and we have just a tail. Because what we're doing, and nobody's explains this, is as it unwinds, it's flattening the other side out. Got a little trick to show you. If I can get my little fingers through here and keep my arm out of the shot. I don't have a remote monitor on this camera, so I have to trust what I'm doing is getting it, because we're just winding the tension by hand. Get too many. Alright, now I'm going to take her all, we're going to put it through that loop, and if I can pull without moving it out of focus, it should slide right up there. And because the awl is pointy, we can just pull it right out like that. And we pull as stoutly as we can to tighten that bundle up. And if we got it good and tight, take our old dull scissors, won't even gnaw it off, and there we have. We'll trim that down with a little flame, and we're good to go. I'll check to see how close to 3 inches I got, put the stopper back on, and we'll check that out in about another film edit. Strike our match, melt it down. We're done with that. Now remember, we tighten this partially up so that it would pull our string nice and tight, because we're winding a direction that makes it want to loosen up so that we get that kind of rope action effect. And now I gotta go ahead and loosen it all the way up, and we'll check it out, see how well toward the center we actually managed to get this. Okay, if I get this in there and get that tightened up, it's close enough to middle as I'm going to get that device. Where's my tape? See how close to 3" we managed. I made a little bit of a model here. It's pretty crude, but it's to illustrate what possible difference there is in the direction that you wrap the serving. Now, I have a little piece of pipe. I've colored some little green and red stripes on it to represent the direction of twist in the bowstring. Now what you see around it is going to represent the serving, and it's wrapped with the twist of the string. Now when you pull a bowstring, it's not going to want to twist anymore. In fact, it's going to want to untwist because you're pulling on both ends. So what happens when we twist it this way? Alright, if we try to untwist it, you see how the colors change? It actually tightens up on the pipe. The rope is tightening up on the pipe. Now what happens if you were to twist it more? Which is not going to happen when you have the bow string on the bow, because what would twisting it do? It would actually shorten the bowstring, wouldn't it? It would actually tighten up the rope. I mean, what happens when you twist the rope? It gets smaller. So what happens here? It loosens the serving. So if it matters at all, depending on the serving material that you use, wouldn't it make more sense to twist it in a way that's going to tighten on the string? Another little point to make is the 2 ends of the knot are anchored, and so that's what's going to allow it to twist. Another point to make is perhaps it doesn't make that big of a deal, because if you use, like the BC&Y that I'm using in my bows, it's a braided material, so it's pretty rough. And you're not going to get a lot of twisting and untwisting of the bowstring because it's fixed on both ends. So once you have it, it's pretty well much going to be fixed. You're only going to get some temporary twisting in between, maybe on the place where you anchor your D-loop or something like that. So if you have a good material that's not particularly very slippy, perhaps it really doesn't matter that much. But you got a 50-50 shot when you wrap it. So does it hurt to try to wrap it in a direction that might benefit you?